Welcome to Chad, a remarkable nation where extraordinary stories unfold in the heart of Africa. This is a country where international espionage missions once played out in the desert, where ancient traditions survive alongside modern challenges, and where humanitarian crises meet incredible resilience. From mysterious flag coincidences to jaw-dropping cultural practices, Chad holds secrets that will completely transform how you view this fascinating corner of the world. Let's explore 15 incredible facts and cultural nuances about Chad that will leave you amazed. Number 15. The sweet and bitter ritual of friendship. In Chad, sharing tea isn't merely about quenching thirst, it's a profound cultural ceremony that can transform strangers into lifelong friends. When Chadians invite you for tea, prepare yourself for an experience that could span several hours, centered around 3 meaningful cups. The ritual begins with the first serving, intensely bitter and almost harsh on the palate. This represents life's inevitable struggles and hardships that everyone must face. The second cup introduces sweetness as sugar is added, symbolizing love, passion, and the tender moments that soften our existence. Finally, the third cup reaches perfect sweetness, embodying lasting friendship and the warmth of genuine human connection. The brewing process itself is an art form. Tea is carefully prepared and poured back and forth between kettle and glass, creating a distinctive white foam crown on top, a mark of properly prepared tea according to local tradition. These sessions replace elaborate social gatherings, serving as the foundation for community bonding. In a world where digital connections often replace face-to-face interaction, Chad's tea ritual reminds us of the irreplaceable value of taking time to truly connect with others. Number 14. A nation drowning in desert sands, rising from vanishing waters. Lake Chad presents one of the most dramatic environmental stories on Earth. In the 1960s, this massive freshwater lake stretched across more than 10,000 square miles, roughly equivalent to Maryland's entire area, ranking among the world's largest lakes. Today, it has shrunk by a staggering 90%, creating landscapes that seem almost otherworldly. Yet this environmental catastrophe has sparked incredible human adaptation. As waters continue receding, local communities have transformed the newly exposed lakebed into fertile farmland, grazing areas, and bustling trading posts. Wooden boats that once navigated these waters now sit stranded on dry sand, serving as poignant museums for visitors. When seasonal rains arrive, temporary floating markets spring to life, creating scenes that feel like living, breathing artwork. Despite its dramatic reduction, Lake Chad remains a lifeline for over 30 million people across Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Niger. The surviving wetlands create a vital green oasis in the harsh desert environment, supporting livestock and serving as a crucial stopover for migratory birds from across Africa. The lake has become more than a natural resource. It's a cultural epicenter where rain ceremonies, traditional dances, and ancient folk songs continue to thrive, passed down through countless generations. Standing resilient against the brutal Saharan elements, the baobab trees of Chad represent some of nature's most remarkable survivors. These magnificent giants have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, with some specimens living for over 1,000 years, predating many modern nations. These trees are nothing short of architectural marvels. Their trunks grow so massive that it takes a dozen adults holding hands to encircle just one tree. The hollow interiors create natural rooms spacious enough to serve as shelters, food storage areas, or community meeting spaces. In Chad's punishing climate, where temperatures regularly soar above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, baobabs function like enormous natural water tanks, providing life-sustaining resources for both humans and animals. Every part of the baobab serves a purpose in daily life. The fibrous bark transforms into strong rope, young leaves provide nutritious vegetables for cooking, and seeds are ground into protein-rich flour. The fruit itself is a nutritional powerhouse, containing 6 times more vitamin C than oranges. Local communities regard each baobab as sacred, believing that cutting one down would anger ancestral spirits. These trees become green sanctuaries where children play in cooling shade, elders gather to share stories, and young people forge new relationships. If you're planning to capture memories in Chad, think twice before reaching for your camera. This country maintains some of the world's strictest photography regulations, treating unauthorized picture-taking as a serious offense that could result in significant legal trouble. According to official United States State Department guidelines, all photography within Chad requires advance permission from the Ministry of Interior and Public Security. This restriction applies universally. Tourists, international journalists and film crews must all obtain proper documentation before taking any photographs. Even with official permits, certain areas remain completely off-limits. Military installations, government buildings, airports, and even some public monuments. Breaking these rules carries severe consequences. Equipment confiscation, substantial fines, and arrest are all real possibilities. Some tourists have found themselves detained for days simply for photographing what they thought were harmless administrative buildings. These strict measures stem from Chad's turbulent history of political instability, military coups, and ongoing regional conflicts. For visitors, the safest approach involves obtaining photography permits well in advance and constantly consulting with local guides or residents before taking any pictures. Natural landscapes, traditional markets, and everyday life scenes are generally acceptable subjects, but caution should always be your guiding principle. In southern Chad, the Sera tribe maintains one of Africa's most distinctive and increasingly rare cultural traditions: ritual facial scarification. Unlike modern tattoos created with ink, this ancient practice involves creating deliberate small wounds and rubbing ash or medicinal herbs into them, forming raised, permanent patterns on the skin. Each intricate design carries deep significance, revealing family lineage, community status, or important life transitions. These ceremonies typically occur during coming-of-age rituals, with entire communities gathering to witness and celebrate. Young men must demonstrate courage and composure throughout the process, as having an unmarked face is traditionally viewed as a sign of immaturity within Sera culture. However, this ancestral tradition faces mounting pressure from modernization, religious influences, and external prejudices. Many young people now choose to forego scarification, worried that the distinctive marks might limit their educational opportunities or employment prospects if they venture beyond their home communities. Despite these challenges, tribal elders continue to view their geometric facial patterns as sources of immense pride and cultural identity, representing an unbroken connection to their ancestors and heritage. Number 10. The echoing voice of tradition. Among Africa's vast array of traditional musical instruments, few command attention like Chad's kakaki, a magnificent metal horn stretching anywhere from 10 to 13 feet in length. This impressive instrument produces these deep, resonant tones that carry across vast distances, creating sounds that, honestly, seem to emerge from another realm entirely. The kakaki holds special significance in royal and sultanate ceremonies throughout the region. Its powerful blast serves as an official announcement, signaling the arrival of kings, religious leaders, or distinguished guests. A single note from this horn alerts entire communities that something momentous is about to occur. While the kakaki originated with the Hausa people, its influence has spread far beyond Chad's borders, finding ceremonial use in Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Benin, and Niger. In these various regions, it's sometimes known by the name Waza. However, in Chad specifically, the kakaki carries particular national importance, serving as both a cultural symbol and a source of collective pride. Many believe this remarkable instrument deserves recognition alongside Chad's official symbols, the lion representing the south and the goat representing the north. Whenever the kakaki sounds, it doesn't merely welcome important figures, it expresses the unity and national spirit that bind Chad's diverse communities together. Number 9. Eye contact, the silent challenge. In Western cultures, maintaining eye contact during conversation signals confidence, honesty, and engagement. However, in Chad, this same gesture carries entirely different and potentially offensive implications that can create, well, some serious misunderstandings for uninformed visitors. Throughout many traditional Chadian communities, looking someone directly in the eyes while speaking is considered deeply disrespectful. People may interpret sustained eye contact as a sign of anger, defiance, or deliberate disrespect. Instead, showing proper respect involves slightly bowing your head or looking away during conversation. This cultural norm becomes particularly important when interacting with elders or individuals holding high social status. Direct eye contact with such people is viewed as insolent and inappropriate. In village settings, children must look downward when answering questions from adults, as staring into parents' or elders' eyes would be seen as rebellious behavior. This creates some fascinating cultural contrasts. While some societies view eyes as windows to the soul and proof of honesty, in Chad, direct eye contact can function as a silent challenge or provocation. Travelers often experience confusion when gestures considered polite in their home countries become cultural taboos in this new environment. Number 8. Africa and Europe's impossible twin flags. Prepare to be amazed by one of geography's most peculiar coincidences. Romania in Europe and Chad in Africa, two nations separated by over 2,500 miles with virtually no political connections or diplomatic ties, use nearly identical national flags. This remarkable similarity has sparked decades of international debate and diplomatic tension. Romania officially adopted its blue, yellow, and red tricolor design in 1866. More than 90 years later, in 1959, Chad unveiled its own flag just before gaining independence. The only distinguishing feature is a subtle difference in blue shades. Romania uses lighter cobalt blue while Chad employs deeper indigo. Honestly, could you reliably tell them apart during Olympic ceremonies or United Nations gatherings? Romania was not pleased with this development. In 2004, they formally petitioned the United Nations to establish clear distinctions between the two flags, arguing their historical precedence. We have a long-established history. Chad only achieved independence a few decades ago, so why don't they make changes? Chad responded firmly, "This represents our symbol of independence. We won't alter it simply because it resembles someone else's design." Despite years of ongoing debate, both countries have stubbornly maintained their original flags. Even celebrities like Elon Musk have expressed surprise on social media about this unusual situation. Interestingly, Chad and Romania aren't alone in this predicament. Other flag twins exist worldwide, including Indonesia and Monaco, Ireland and Ivory Coast, plus Australia and New Zealand. Few people realize that Chad, despite being one of the world's poorest and most politically unstable nations, shoulders an enormous humanitarian responsibility. Many international scholars describe it as the giant refugee camp of the Sahara, and this description isn't hyperbole. Currently, over 1.2 million refugees from Sudan, the Central African Republic, Nigeria and Cameroon have sought safety within Chad's borders. Along the eastern frontier near Darfur, massive camps like Kunungu and Farchana each house up to 50,000 people, populations equivalent to mid-sized American cities. Some of these refugee settlements have existed for over 2 decades, where children are born and reach adulthood without ever seeing their parents' homeland. According to Global Change Data Lab statistics, for every 1,000 Chadians, about 28.75 are refugees, making Chad the second highest per capita refugee host in all of Africa. This statistic becomes even more staggering when considering Chad's GDP per capita is merely $800 annually, less than the cost of a new iPhone. Yet despite facing severe economic hardships, Chad continues welcoming those fleeing violence, the bloody Darfur conflict, civil wars in the Central African Republic, and Boko Haram terrorism in Nigeria and Cameroon. Chad has pioneered implementation of the Global Compact for Migration, criminalizing human trafficking in 2018, adopting the Kampala Convention on Migrant Protection, and collaborating closely with IOM and UNHCR for resettlement, healthcare, and education services. Many camps have evolved into tent cities featuring schools, markets, and soccer fields. In Iridimi camp, children learn both Arabic and French, though sadly, many grow up stateless. Imagine a nation where nearly 1 in 10 people is either a refugee or internally displaced, yet still courageously shoulders this humanitarian burden for the global community. While most countries offer dozens or even hundreds of television channels, Chad presents a remarkable exception. The entire nation operates with just one national television channel, making Chad's media landscape unique, with a single agency shaping public opinion and national culture. This becomes even more significant considering that over 80% of Chadians live in rural areas, and only approximately 15 to 20% of the population has internet access. TeleChad serves as the sole window to the outside world for most citizens. It's not merely a news source. It broadcasts movies, music, national events, and even religious prayer sessions. To put this in perspective, the United States has over 1,700 television channels, plus countless streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney+, and HBO. Imagine if all that disappeared, leaving just one channel for news, entertainment, and cultural programming. The influence would be enormous. This monopoly presents both advantages and drawbacks. TeleChad operates under strict government control, drawing criticism from human rights organizations for lacking diversity and transparency. However, in a country with over 200 ethnic groups and 120 different languages, a single television channel helps forge shared national identity and promotes traditional culture to the wider world. Number 5. The vanity capital of Africa's beauty contest. Imagine for a moment a festival where men spend days applying makeup, lining their eyes, painting their lips, and flashing brilliant white smiles, all to be selected by women as potential husbands. This extraordinary spectacle happens every year at the Garawal Festival of the Wodaabe, a nomadic tribe that spans Chad and Niger, where honestly male beauty takes center stage like nowhere else on earth. Every year, right after the rainy season, thousands of Wodaabe gather in the harsh Sahel region, where, believe it or not, daytime temperatures can reach 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Men invest days in preparation, constantly checking their reflections, outlining their eyes to appear larger and deeper, painting their lips vibrant red, creating intricate facial patterns, styling their hair, wearing traditional ceremonial hats and dressing in brilliantly colored outfits. This dedication has actually earned the Wodaabe recognition as the vainest tribe in the world. The festival's highlight is the shoddy dance, where men form lines, dance and sing while showcasing sparkling eyes and gleaming white teeth, the hallmarks of beauty in Wodaabe culture. They consume local herbal teas for stamina, some with hallucinogenic properties, allowing them to dance continuously through the night until sunrise. Women, both unmarried and married, serve as judges, observing hundreds of men to select the most attractive dancer. What often shocks Western visitors is the festival's approach to love and relationships. Even married women, if attracted to a particular dancer, can openly approach and touch his shoulder. If he responds favorably, they might spend the night together or even leave their husbands to start new lives. Among the Wodaabe, this isn't considered betrayal, it's actually viewed as a woman's fundamental right. Number 4. Treasures from the dawn of time. Few people realize that Chad, this arid nation in Central Africa, is actually one of the world's most important paleontological treasure sites. Scientists have even dubbed it the Valley of the Dinosaurs, and for a really good reason. One of the most groundbreaking discoveries is Sahelanthropus chadensis, affectionately nicknamed Toumai. This fossil was unearthed in 2001 in northern Chad's Jurab Desert. Dating back 7 million years, Toumai represents one of the earliest human ancestors ever discovered. Its skull displays both ape-like and human-like characteristics, revealing the crucial evolutionary transition when, for the first time, our ancestors began walking upright. Beyond ancient human remains, Chad is also a massive dinosaur graveyard. In its vast desert expanses, scientists have excavated bones from enormous plant-eating dinosaurs, remains of Sarcosuchus imperator, the so-called super croc measuring over 40 feet in length, and various other prehistoric reptiles. Seeing these gray-white dinosaur skeletons scattered across the red desert sands creates an almost science fiction movie atmosphere. These discoveries continue to reshape our understanding of human evolution and prehistoric life, making Chad's deserts invaluable windows into Earth's ancient past. Number 3. Wealth, poverty, and the corruption paradox. Chad presents one of the modern world's most tragic paradoxes. Despite possessing abundant natural resources including oil, gold, and uranium, it consistently ranks among the globe's poorest and most corrupt nations. Forbes listed Chad as the 7th poorest country in 2008, and honestly, conditions haven't significantly improved since then. Approximately 42% of the population still lives below the poverty line, while 80% reside in rural areas, depending on subsistence farming and livestock for survival. The irony gets even deeper when you consider Chad's substantial oil wealth, which, unfortunately, hasn't translated into meaningful development. Multiple international reports reveal that billions in oil revenue have been diverted toward purchasing weapons for internal conflicts instead of investing in healthcare, education, or infrastructure development. Consequently, GDP per capita remains stuck at just $800 annually, a minuscule amount compared to Chad's actual resource wealth. Chad's poverty is matched by its reputation for deep-rooted corruption. In Transparency International's annual rankings, Chad consistently appears near the bottom in the red zone, where concentrated power, weak governance, and lack of transparency create a devastating cycle. Poverty breeds instability, instability fuels corruption, and corruption perpetuates poverty, a seemingly endless loop that prevents the nation from reaching its tremendous potential. Can you believe that a small, relatively unknown African nation once played a pivotal role in one of the Cold War's most daring military operations? It's absolutely true. In 1988, during the Toyota War, Chad's Western-backed forces defeated Muammar Gaddafi's Libyan army, forcing them to retreat from the Wadi Doum base and abandon valuable heavy weaponry, including a prized Mi-25 Hind attack helicopter, the export version of the Mi-24, nicknamed the flying tank of the Soviet Union. For Washington, this wasn't simply abandoned military equipment, it represented a golden opportunity to study advanced enemy technology. The CIA immediately launched Operation Mount Hope III in 1988, negotiating a deal with Chad's government. The United States would pay $2 million, over $5 million in today's currency, and provide Stinger missiles in exchange for permission to airlift the Hind helicopter out of Chad. To execute this audacious mission, the elite 160th SOAR Night Stalkers unit flew two MH-47 Chinook helicopters across the brutal Sahara Desert, where daytime temperatures can reach 117 degrees Fahrenheit. The pilots had trained extensively in New Mexico's desert environment, using 500-gallon water tanks to simulate the Hind's 40,000-pound weight. The results were spectacular. In just 67 hours, they successfully extracted their prize without detection by radar or enemy gunfire. The Soviets and Libyans were furious but couldn't publicly protest, as admitting the loss would mean revealing their equipment had been abandoned. Meanwhile, the United States quietly celebrated. The captured Hind provided the Pentagon with invaluable insights into the strengths, weaknesses, and tactical capabilities of the Soviet helicopter that had been causing NATO serious concerns in Europe. The helicopter was later restored, test-flown extensively, and now sits on permanent display at the Southern Museum of Flight in Alabama. Can you imagine a Muslim-majority country officially prohibiting women from wearing burqas or niqabs, garments that completely cover the face and hold deep religious and traditional significance? This surprising reality exists in Chad, a Central African nation where over 55% of the population practices Islam. In June 2015, Chad's government issued a strict nationwide ban on wearing burqas and niqabs in public spaces. Prime Minister Kalzoube Pahimi Dobe announced this decision just one day before Ramadan, a period of great religious importance for Muslims worldwide. The Interior Ministry quickly organized widespread sweeps to confiscate banned clothing from markets and shops, ordering citizens to comply with what they described as public safety measures. What makes Chad's ban unique is that it differs significantly from similar restrictions in European countries, which often focus on social integration issues. In Chad, the rationale centers on maintaining public order and reducing security risks. The government insists this policy isn't anti-religious but rather a preventive measure to ensure certain garments aren't misused for non-cultural purposes. This ban remains in effect today, making Chad one of the very few places worldwide with such legislation. The policy continues generating debate about religious freedom, cultural identity, and security concerns in a nation where Islam plays a central role in daily life. So there you have it, a fascinating journey through Chad's most remarkable facts and cultural complexities. Which revelation surprised you the most? Do you agree with these perspectives, or do you have different viewpoints to share? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to engage with this content to discover more incredible facts about countries around the world.